Hi, this is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I've got a weekly haul of about $10,000 in books, and a lot of it is in this one box, so stay tuned. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So I've decided to change my format a bit for how I do unboxing videos, because I end up with those large unboxings like I've done recently where I have like $20,000 in books, and I don't like having that much kind of backlogged into boxes. So I'm going to start trying to do one a week, just of the boxes that I have in that week, and if I don't get any in that week, then I won't have an unboxing video that week. I just think that's a better way to do it, because I don't buy comics every week. I do buy them most weeks though, so there will usually be a video. Now, like I said, there's one book in this one, and this is a pretty big book, so I'm excited to get into this one, and but I'll save that one to the end. Now, this box, I can't remember exactly how many are in it, maybe 6 or 7 books, but I believe that like I said, the total I spent between these two was somewhere around $8,000 for it. I think the value was closer to probably 11 or 12. But yeah, let's get into these boxes. I've got some really cool books. I'm excited to take a look at them. So luckily the packing peanuts were on the bottom of that box, so I didn't make a big mess. But I've got 3 different packages of books here. 1, 2, 3. I think there's 6 books total. So I'll cut into these and we'll go through these books. Alright, so we've got that box open, and there were a total of 6 books, 5 graded, 1 raw, and I'm going to show the raw book first. This book is awesome, and I'm going to show the first page of the interior as well, because that is just as good. Now, this is Detective Comics, number 71. This is from late 1942, I think November 1942, and I mean, just, it is a classic Joker cover. It is an awesome Joker cover. This is a very low grade book. It is a 0.5 because it's missing multiple pages. But even in a 0.5, this is like a $1,000 book. So, you know, that's the thing to be aware of. A lot of these books, especially early Joker covers, have a lot of value regardless of grade. This is his 4th cover appearance in Detective Comics, his 5th cover appearance overall, and I think it's like his 12th or 13th appearance in anything. So this is a very early appearance of the Joker, and so what I wanted to show you, and I've washed my hands, so don't have to worry, and it doesn't make that big of a deal because it is a very low grade book that's missing multiple pages, but I wanted to show the first splash page because it is just it is great. So let's see here. So this is the opening splash page there, and just a great opening splash page. I love it. Full picture, one large panel, looks great. And I was a little worried because all that was advertised with it, I took a bit of a risk with it, but not too much, I don't think. All that was advertised is that it was missing pages. So I didn't know which pages were missing, and I was really hoping that the opening splash page was there, which it is. So that is great for this book. Now, one thing with this, I've recommended these in the past. This is an instance where you need to have the extra wide Golden Age bags, because this book has a, you can tell, has a big spine roll on it. It's, you can see it up here. It's also, when it's actually out, you can almost see it pushing out on the back here. And so it's much wider than a normal Golden Age bag. It won't fit. so you have to have these wider ones, and even with that, it is barely making it. So, but awesome book. I'm always looking for early Joker covers and appearances, so I'm very happy to get that. All right, so now on to the next one. Next book is Marvel, and this is a book that I have recommended picking up. I've been trying to find one at a decent price for a while. Finally got one, and this is Daredevil #7 in a 6.5. This is the first appearance of Daredevil in his red suit, in his red outfit, and so this is a big game changer for this series. There aren't a lot of keys in the Daredevil run. It's pretty thin because a lot of his villains, you know, and I've gotten some shade for this in the past, but a lot of his villains really suck. You know, so you've got like the Matador and Stiltman, and I mean, just villains that aren't really mainstream, and so there's not a lot of value in a lot of the books from this run. But issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, I think that's the Owl, issue 4, which is Purple Man, issue 7, which is Red Suit, and then there's not a lot after that. Let's see, you've got issue 16, which is the first Romita Spider-Man, but then it's a ways until you get some other big issues. And so this is a great one though. This is an awesome cover. Very happy to get this copy. And like I've said, I'll definitely take a look at it because it looks like maybe it hasn't been pressed. So something I'll look at to see if there's any chance of a bump in it. But great book. All right, the next one. I haven't talked about this book specifically, but I've talked about this series, and it's something to really keep an eye out for right now. And this is Star Wars #61 in a 9/8. There's nothing, you know, particularly key or important with this book. It's just a 9/8 from the Star Wars run. And Star Wars has gotten so popular lately that 9/8s, these books, they were traditionally selling really cheap, you know, just like $100 almost for almost any of these filler type Star Wars 9/8 issues. And when The Mandalorian came out and all the hype that came out around it, everything Star Wars went crazy. It got really, really expensive. But now that we've had some quiet on the front with Star Wars, things have cooled down. Prices have definitely come down in those books. Now is the time to buy them. Do not think that these prices are going to stay down. They will go right back up when we have another season of Mandalorian, when we have the book of Boba Fett, when we have any of these shows that are coming out, any of the movies that are coming out. It is just going to drive demand back to Star Wars again. And this is exactly the kind of stuff that I talk about when I'm saying to pick up these books when they are not on the radar. This is the time to get them. I did that unboxing earlier where I had, I think it was Star Wars 68. It's that yellow cover with the Mandalorian on the cover. I mean, that book, there's no reason I should have been able to get it as cheap as I did, but because people are now paying attention to WandaVision or Loki or whatever else, they're ignoring those books right now. You have to go where other people aren't looking at that moment, and Star Wars books are getting cheaper right now, and I highly recommend picking them up when you come across them, especially for these like filler books. Go for 9/8. Some of the later books, try to get as high a grade as possible because that's really where you're going to find the value in those books. All right, this next one. This is Golden Age. This is just, it is a really cool book. I was really excited to pick this one up. This is Wonderworld Comics #10. It's a low grade. It's a 1.5, but the colors still really pop on it. I mean, it's missing, you know, a piece out of the top corner up here, a piece out of the bottom corner here, and I think it's a split spine. Yeah, spine of cover completely split and reattached with tape. And so, but the cover still looks great. You've got the Flame right on the front. He's this kind of like Golden Age superhero right here, and it's a war type cover with like a tank, or this thing that's like a drill type tank on the front. So it's a cool cover, and these books are pretty rare. The Wonderworld run are pretty rare, and so if I get a chance to pick one up that at what I think is a decent price, I always will. And there's something, I was talking about this with someone else recently on Instagram. It's these Fox Features Syndicate, these early books. The colors, like, they just always look fantastic. I mean, this is from 1940. This is February of 1940, and I mean, the colors on this are still just, they're fantastic. And so that's really something that I like to look for. And with these with books from this run, the colors just always seem to really pop, and this is no exception to that. All right, next one. We got Bronze Age X-Men, and this is X-Men number 120, and this is the first cameo appearance of Alpha Flight, and there is a lot of talk about Alpha Flight coming to the MCU at some point. So this book is the cameo. The first full is issue 121. I'll pop a picture of it up over here. And I would recommend trying to get both of those books. Now, the other thing with Alpha Flight, and I feel like this is something that's maybe going to upset people that are the big, Wolverine fans, is that for Alpha Flight, issue 120, the cameo, is the much more valuable book. It is worth a lot more than issue 121, unlike Hulk 180 and 181, where 181 is the much more valuable book. So it's just something to say that it doesn't really matter if it's the cameo or the full. The market, the collector community decides what the more valuable book is, and this is currently the more valuable book for Alpha Flight. I think it's also probably partially because it's a darker cover, a little harder to get in high grade, but this one is definitely more valuable than issue 121. But always happy to be able to still get some X-Men books at a decent price because they have gone up so much across the board, especially for key issues like this. All right, now this is the last one from this box. Then I have the really big book in the other box, but this one is still a pretty big issue. And I picked this one up on the recommendation of Vancouver Comic Junkie. If you don't watch his channel, definitely recommend it. And he's been talking about these books for a long time, and it finally, broke me down and I got one. And so this is G.I. Joe number 1 in a 9/8, and tough book to get in a 9/8 because I don't know if you can see it here, but it's a much thicker book. It's not a normal, 36-page book. And just G.I. Joe has so many first appearances through, it's like the first 20 or 30 issues. There's just key after key after key, and we just had the Snake Eyes trailer come out, so we know that G.I. Joe movies and that type of content are coming, and so I think it's a good time to get them. I mean, they've gone up a lot. There's no question. This book has gone up a lot in the last year. Especially around the whole nostalgia thing that's been driving a lot of prices in some of these books, but I'm still happy to pick that one up where I feel like it's still on the the front end of where these books could go with all the money and everything that's being dumped into that franchise. So I think it's this book, as well as any of those other keys, look for those first appearances for G.I. Joe and try to pick those up. Now, if you want the details on that, I recommend going and watching Vancouver Comic Junkie. He is much more experienced with those books, and he has all the numbers and everything memorized. I do not. So I just go for number 1s. That's what I like to get, and was excited to pick up a 9/8 of that. Now, I'm going to open up this other book over here. So this is a big book. It's not the biggest book in my collection now, but it is up near the top. And there's some pen on the cover, all that kind of thing, but I don't really care. So this is Avengers number 1 in a 4/0, and you can see this is Steve's copy, but I know a bunch of Steves, so that that's okay. And then there's a little bit of there's pen in the A, and let's see, and there's the year 1963, just so you didn't forget what year it was published in. And then on the back, it says the Avengers now September. I don't know why, but regardless, I am very happy with this book. The price I thought was absolutely fantastic. I think part of that was because of the pen. It was deterring some people, and like I said, I don't care. So it was I'm always looking for a deal in these books, and this is such a huge key, first appearance of the Avengers, and just an iconic cover with them facing off against Loki, basically from that first Avengers movie, minus Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, if you've watched one of my prior unboxing videos, you saw that I already do have a copy of this book, so now I have 2 of them. This one is not quite as nice. This one is a 0.5 almost certainly, and it will probably also come back as restored, because all of this up here is pen, where it was, you know, where the words had been worn away. Somebody wrote over it in pen to create the name, and I'm not sure how they'll treat that. My guess is they will call it restored. But regardless, it was a cool book to pick up, and you know, then now I get to say that I have two of them. So 2 copies of Avengers #1. This one, you know, has a lot less pen on it, so it's a great book to have. You know, old school Iron Man when he's still in his gold armor, hasn't switched to his modern armor yet. And let's see here. So this is a book that has been undervalued for a long time, and if Avengers, the first Avengers, had come out now, you know, where we are now with this crazy comic market that we're in, it would have just exploded. It would have been crazy, but it didn't. I mean, comics really weren't doing what they were doing now back then. The prices have gone up considerably on this book. This was a much cheaper book not too long ago, but all those Silver Age keys, those big keys, have really been going up lately, and this is no exception. And this is just one that, because it's not a single character, I think that had really caused it to be overlooked for a long time. But with how important the Avengers are to just the modern MCU now, and it's just in everybody's vocabulary, it's a big book to have. So very excited to get that one. If you're looking for an alternative, I've talked about this book in the past. Avengers #2 is a much more affordable book. It still has a lot of these same characters on the cover, so that's one that you could also go for. But I'm very excited about this unboxing. Some awesome books, some big key books. I love this this early Joker cover, you know, Detective Comics #71 from 1942. Just, you know, another awesome book to have. So real excited with this unboxing. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this, and I will see you in the next video.